Yo, what's going on YouTube? Can you hear me? I would think so. Sorry if the back of my head makes me look like a bird. Literally just woke up and I'm up to make some videos. I'm watching the Morocco-Spain game. They're tied 7 minutes into extra time, so I'm just going to watch that while I'm making videos. Hopefully I don't get too distracted. If they score a goal, I'm going to say it on video, so... Yeah, and obviously Ronaldo plays at 1, so I'll probably watch as much of that in the room here as I can. So yeah, that'll be pretty lit. The group is still reeling from the tragedy of Beth's death at Grady Memorial Hospital, and oh my goodness, another one's going to come this episode. It's very hard hitting. The Walking Dead is like really trying to kill their audience here with these deaths. At any moment, they could just take people away, and I mean, there was a pretty big intermission between people dying in this show. So, they decide that the best way to honor her is to complete Beth's intended mission of reuniting Noah with his family. So they take Noah back to his home and see what's going on there. The entire group makes the 530-mile journey to Shire Wilt Estates. This is how dedicated they are to the cause, which is really wholesome. That they're bringing Noah this far to his home. I mean, he's got to feel good about this. He's got to really like the new group he's been with. Obviously, it would have been better if he was with Beth, the first member of the group she met, but still, I mean, yeah. It's a walled community outside of Richmond, Virginia, leaving Georgia behind. So Georgia is officially in the dust, and they're on to better things here. They're going to start in Virginia, and I think they're still trying to make a journey to Washington, despite Eugene lying. I mean, I still think they want to go to Washington. That's like the nation's capital. It makes sense. Rick, Michonne, Tyrese, Glenn, and Noah decide to scout ahead and visit the compound first, while the others remain behind to be safe. So if it's safe, they can all go in. But if it isn't, then they're not going to go, right? In the car, Tyrese tells Noah and the others about his father, who always used to tell him and Sasha that, as citizens of the world, they should listen to the news and never change the channel or turn it off if it's something horrific, as they should always know about the atrocities that take place so they can be prepared and have their eyes open. So that's kind of like, maybe that's the motivation behind him, like kind of knowing what's going on, like kind of him being so cold-hearted and stone-hearted, or whatever the term is, about this apocalypse. Maybe that can explain a little bit of that. He's never really like broke down and cried because of the apocalypse. Like, he lost loved ones and he cried, but he knows bad things can happen in this world, and they did. So he was prepared. His father prepared him for that. Upon arrival, however, they discover the community has been overrun and everybody inside it killed. The words "wolves not far" are spray painted on a brick wall, so they kind of came here for nothing, obviously. Noah can see his home again, which is nice, but he doesn't have any family members left, so that is kind of unfortunate. Noah breaks down and Tyrese stays behind to comfort him as Rick, Michonne, and Glenn scout for supplies. So now that he's not here to talk to his family, they're no longer there to talk to Noah's family or anything and reunite him with them. They're there to get some supplies. So that's exactly what they do, as Noah kind of deals with everything. Tyrese tells Noah that he wanted to give in and die when Karen was killed, one of the girls obviously the girl he fell in love with at the prison. But that he kept on fighting and decided to live, and as a result, he was able to protect Judith when she needed him. He wasn't able to do it with Karen, but I mean, Judith came around, and he's thankful that he was able to help her survive a baby child. That's more important. That's more precious than anything in this world, in terms of human life forms as an infant. Like, if that was definitely a morality boost for him. Noah stands and sprints to his family home with Tyrese in pursuit. Now, this is very dangerous for Noah to do, but he ends up doing it anyway. He wants to see what his home is like and what happened. They arrive and find Noah's whole family dead. So he kind of knew this. His whole community was dead. He knew they weren't going to be alive, but the fact that they were just dead inside when he came in, and like they didn't get eaten up or anything, that's definitely like the worst part about it. Seeing your dead family as you walk into the house. Tyrese explores the house while Noah sits by his mother's corpse and apologizes for not returning home sooner. He is definitely he definitely feels really bad. You know, he feels bad about it. Like, he wanted to come back home and he didn't, and they died. Not as a result, but you know. While focusing on pictures of Noah's family, Tyrese is bitten by Noah's reanimated brother, whom Noah quickly dispatches with a model jet. So he saves Tyrese, but Tyrese has been bitten. So if he doesn't get quick medical attention, he is going to die. And as you know, bad things happen, right? Noah leaves immediately to retrieve Rick and the others. I don't know why he didn't just take care of the job himself. That's kind of him not being like directly responsible for his family's. I don't know. It's kind of a weird symbolism they go for in this episode. Interesting messages, a lot of subliminals going on. Tyrese suffers severe blood loss and begins to hallucinate about news stories in the radio, as well as visits by Martin, Bob, the governor, and Mike, Lizzie, and Micah, who discuss his actions throughout his time with the group, and this kind of gives him a little bit of time to himself to kind of reflect on what happened during the apocalypse, what went wrong, stuff like that. Over the radio, Tyrese begins to hear a news story about a group of people traveling up the East Coast and slaughtering innocent people in gruesome ways, and realizing that they're talking about the group he's in right now, right? You know. Bob and the girls try to comfort and reassure him. He also struggles internally with his recent decisions and speaks with his hallucination. He's kind of like just talking about himself. He's like battling with his inner thoughts. Bob and the girls try to comfort and reassure him that he did the right thing and that death is much better than being alive, especially in the apocalypse at this point. But the governor and Martin antagonize him for not being able to do what they feel needed to be done. So it's kind of like the angel and the devil on his shoulder. Part of them are saying he did the right thing, part of them saying he did the wrong thing. In between his discussions, Tyrese is bitten again in a skirmish with another walker, further worsening his already bleak situation. So it's not looking good for Tyrese. You kind of realize that he's probably not going to make it out alive here. Elsewhere, Michonne continues to express a desire to settle in one place and to fortify the town, but Rick argues that the town is indefensible, showing how part of its defensive wall has already been toppled by a large vehicle. So it's like, no, we can't really find civilization here. We need to move on. They notice walkers that have been severed in half, but do not act upon it any further. And as you're watching, you're kind of wondering, how did that happen? Michonne then recommends going to Washington, D.C. because although Eugene lied about a cure, D.C. may still have resources to improve their chances for survival. Again, it's the nation's capital. They have damn near everything you need in a situation like this, I'm sure. But I'm pretty sure everyone else was thinking that, and once they get there, it's just going to be a mob of either walkers or actual people. Rick comes around and agrees to make the 100-mile journey to Washington, which pleases Michonne. She's really happy that he's finally agreeing. It's only 100 miles away. That's literally like less than a 2-hour drive, right? They're then alerted by Noah yelling, so they can't quite go yet because Noah is apparently in trouble, or they think. They find him about to be bitten by walkers, but manage to save him in time. So he has this picket fence thing held up to protect himself from walkers, and they save him. But he's not the real one. He's not the one whose life's at stake. Noah informs the others about Tyrese's condition. He's been bit, that we need to save him, get him some medical help right now, or else we're going to lose him. Tyrese listens to Beth singing before being further antagonized by the governor, so he's still sitting here kind of talking to himself. And in passion, Tyrese confronts the governor with his convictions before collapsing while Lizzie holds his hand. In reality, this is Rick stretching his arm so Michonne can amputate it, and they suffer a grueling challenge in escaping the estate with a seriously wounded Tyrese. So yeah, these hallucinations turn into reality. They cut his arm off. They're trying to save him, and they get him out of this estate. Bad idea to travel deep into this state. They fight They fight their way through waves of walkers and pass a truck filled with walkers that have had their arms and legs cut off and the letter W carved into their foreheads, which is very, very interesting, like a cult movement. During the ride back, Tyrese is comforted by visions of Bob, Beth, and the girls. The only people in this car are the people that want to help him because it's Rick and them. They got him out of the situation, and he left his like demons behind. He dies, but he's like leaving his demons behind. Is kind of what this is like representing. He tells Bob to turn off the radio, effectively deciding that he wants to let go and join them in death. He decides he wants to give up, and that's what he does, obviously. His health doesn't allow him to really travel any longer in this journey of life. He passes away and is put down by Michonne so that he does not reanimate. It's so sad. I mean, Tyrese was a good character. I really liked Tyrese. He had a couple weird moments in this series, but I liked him as a character. The remaining survivors then attend his funeral, which Gabriel presides over, being like a priest. He like has all these religious statements towards him. A visibly traumatized Sasha is seen struggling to stand throughout the service, where Rick personally buries him and leaves his cap on his cross. I feel so bad for Sasha. Bob has died, and now her brother, who's even closer to her heart, has died. I mean, my goodness, Sasha's really going through it this season. And she almost led to Beth's death, like letting that officer run away, almost. This is the death of Tyrese. Chad L. Coleman was his actor. Great performance. Yeah. Obviously, with critical acclaim. The direction of Nicotero, the script of Gimple, the performance of Coleman, they all did great here. 100%, 8.08 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes, with the 20 reviews. A visually impressive episode of The Walking Dead, What Happened and What's Going On, artfully portrays the psychology of the characters rather than focusing on its shocking moments. It's currently the highest rated episode of the show so far, like, in this point in the series. It's one of the best. It's the best episodes in years for this series. It's all this attention to detail, whether just a terrific shot of the train tracks or a moment of explosive gore, that makes this such a remarkable, memorable episode, an impressive cinematic achievement, and tremendous hour of television. The opening montage was great. Which was like a foreshadowing to the end of the episode, and a plot twist that the funeral taking place was Tyrese's and not Beth's. It's a great little trick. The performance of Coleman, the direction of Nicotero, those were gorgeous. Like, Nicotero gorgeously directed this. The theme of hopelessness within the episode, the hallucinations of the deceased characters, all were great things. It received a 9 out of 10 on IGN. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave now and move on to the next video because we have extra time here.